Hello everyone, good evening. This is Sai here and welcome to Velokofi Harate. What do we do in Harate? We gossip, and we gossip again. We discuss some interesting topics might come up. I don't know. And who do you do that with? With someone who inspires us, someone with whom we are emotionally connected, and someone who is around us. Not too far out at some distance, but someone who is around us. And who do we have today? Welcome, Twister.
Thank you.
I call him the Twister because I tried to find a lot of names for him. I know our in-house nickname expert Pradeep Guru, we call him Vipu, comes up with many names, but nothing will fix on to him. Why is that? Why do you have so many interests, so many topics with you?
Something you have to answer.
You have to answer. From history to mythology to politics. What else? You also cycle?
Yeah, by the way,
Yes, complete. How many? 30,000 kilometers? 20,000?
no,
40,000?
40,000.
40,000 kilometers of cycling. Then you started running recently.
Yes.
You've been to Mumbai.
Mumbai, yeah, TCS.
TCS Tata Marathon.
Yes.
Then you're also a swimmer.
I used to swim. I swim. Yeah.
You are a diver, certified diver.
Yes.
You are also a yoga, what do you call it? Exponent
Practitioner.
or practitioner. Yoga practitioner. I know many of us have been tortured with his late night
Yoga videos.
yoga videos, but so as I said, so
Not
many
not just you. The whole world has been tortured
tortured.
because it also goes into social media.
So how are you able to manage all these different worlds, which are not exactly, some of them are linked? And I forgot one more aspect. You are also a CXO.
Yeah.
What about 10, 15 different lines of business work? How are you able to
So you
manage all?
okay? You cannot classify that as different aspects, right? It just it's just part of you, right? So swimming really started very early. Swimming actually was my first exercise. When I was growing up, I did not give too much importance to fitness.
Mm.
I used to play cricket,
Okay.
right? But that was just gully cricket, and because of the way we were brought up, right, as a
Yeah.
family, we were very it was very moderate, and so we only had uh, gully cricket. So the first time I really got into sports or fitness was when I got my first job, and and that job was not very good, and I was also going through something very personally challenging that time, and I took up swimming, and I feel when I look back at swimming those days, I think it was therapeutic, and I would even now say swimming is a sport which gives you a good full body workout, but at the same time is therapeutic, and that's how swimming started. And I swam for quite a few uh, years. And you know me, right? When I get into some sport, I am very passionate about it. I have swam when probably the entire streets of Bangalore were empty because the India played Pakistan cricket match, but we still went and swam. So it's been like that. So after swimming, then I caught on to yoga. Yoga I've been practicing now for about 11 plus years, and that's now become like a part of me. And during COVID is when like so many of us in Bangalore, I got back to cycling. Now, why I saying I got back to cycling is, uh, see, I moved to Jayanagar BTM layout in during 1984, and from 86 onwards, I have pedaled from my house to the school and school back home, and I continued to do that all the way to till my first year degree college, because my dad wouldn't buy me a bike, and then he bought me a bike. So almost about 10-12 years of actually rigorous cycling I have done, but that was more commute. It was not pleasure rides, right? It's more like, hey, can't I get a bike? So it's more like a cursing kind of ride. And then now during COVID, thanks to my HR, honestly, that's how I probably met all of you guys. Otherwise, I would have met. my Zacco HR, the Swedish embassy had a tournament. And that tournament, they said, why don't you participate in cycling? That's how I got into cycling. And there I wanted to, for Zacco to come number one, and we pedaled and pedaled. And one fine day, I was still struggling to do 100 kilometer, and I met Sudhu. And that's how the cycling journey started.
So you mentioned that when I said these are 8 or 9 different aspects of life, you said they are not too different.
Yeah.
So how has each one of them fed into the other? If not all of the entire link, but is there some aspects of swimming that is flown into
Yeah.
your riding?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely. See, for example, let's take running, my latest one. I will soon complete 500 kilometers of running, which I think, I never ever imagined in my life that I will run. Okay, even though, because I believe that when you are a youngster, you do a lot of things naturally because your body is up for it. But as you keep growing, as you age, right, it's a little bit of a challenge. So I was an NCC cadet, by the way. I am a C certificate holder. Now, those days in
Army or Navy?
Army, 7th Karatka Battalion. The point was, those days for the camp, the colonel only said, you have to run 2 rounds of parade grounds. So without any practice, I could easily run the 2 rounds of parade ground. Because basically, it's 800, 400. So it's 2 rounds is 4.8 kilometers. At about 25 minutes, I could run. And the first 100 would get a place in a camp. And these were exotic camps, right? Not the CATC, which is a CATC and ATC were bad, but these were army integration camps. So I have done an army integration with Manata Light Infantry. So that is, so okay, coming back, I think swimming actually helped me build a lot of stamina, right? And now I think cycling gave me a lot of mental endurance. I wouldn't say it gave me physical endurance, but to sit, because I think what I was missing for running was to control my mind. I got bored within the first 5 minutes of the run, or within the first 7 minutes of the run. I felt it's not for me. And but I think sitting on the saddle for 5 hours, 6 hours, or some of the night rides we have done, it settled me down. And that's when I think Zainab asked us to register for the first TCS 10K. I just registered and then started practicing for it. And then slowly now I could do a half marathon. In fact,
Is there somebody who has do you learn? Did you learn, or did you get coached, or did you take any guidance about cycling? Or and if you're swimming, you have to do it. It's not that.
yeah,
Or diving, for example, you have to take somebody's uh, some professional's guidance.
yeah, yeah.
Is that something that you have done for cycling and running?
No, I think I have only relied on friends, to be honest. I have relied on advisors. For example, running, I think I take a lot of tips from Zainab. But as far as cycling, I am not very technical. I am absolutely zero. I have basically relied on, for example, you, VP, Sudhu, a lot of these people, in fact, even for brevets, etc. It's keep it very simple, right? Not technical, just keep it simple. So I haven't relied on anybody. Even for swimming, right? See, the once you get your stroke, and once you know that you have the stamina to cross the 25-meter or a 50-meter pool, then if you only want to compete or you want to get professional, you need trainers, stroke correction and all those stuff, right? So I have never, so far I have not got any professional coaching per se on any of these sports because I don't believe I'm professionally competing and I don't need that.
You mentioned about brevets, but if I remember, in the first couple of years of cycling, you did a lot of
Brevets,
brevets.
yeah.
But even now, you do that. But I think you have taken a step back.
Yeah, yeah.
What is the reason? Is there any?
Yeah, no, I think see the first year I did, you are right, I did a lot of brevets. I think it was 21, is it 20?
Yeah, 21, 21.
21 I did a lot of brevet. In fact, like all of us, we started Nandi,
Nandi, we did
Devra and
Dhanushkodi,
Durga, Dhanushkodi and all we did. There are two reasons to it. Last year, I deliberately took a break because of my personal reasons. Like I wanted to focus on my daughter's education and get her settled. So I did not. Riding was not my priority last year, and then there was another thing that really struck, and the question is, why am I riding, right? And I think all of us have got that question. In fact, I have asked you also many times when we were climbing Nandi, why the hell are we doing this, right? What are we getting from doing this? But I think one thing it particularly strikes me and resonates me every time. See, we all did Muthupeta. In fact, you were there also, 400 kilometers Muthupeta when we did. Uh, we were late finish, but I came back to Bangalore, and about 3 or 4 days, I was on a high. It was really high. It can't be explained. I did not get that same feeling for any other ride. After that, I did Dhanushkodi. After that, I did another Hiriyur 400. They were all mechanical. I just did the ride. Okay, great. That's it. But I did not get the high. So this feeling I cannot express. What is that high? Because individually people have to go through that. So that is also a reason I'm thinking. What is the purpose of riding? If eventually I want to get that mental high, then I need to kind of repurpose. But I will tell you that I will definitely come back to Breves next year, maybe. But I will come back to Breves for sure.
Taking a step away from sports, so you are a chartered accountant. So chartered accountants are known to be very obviously money numbers.
Yeah.
You are. You can
Yes, sir.
the way you just now mentioned about how many kilometers you did as a runner.
Yeah.
So how does CA get into so much knowledge on religion, history? I mean, we have ridden in a brevet and in casual riding across the city and different places. Or even when we a couple of times we went to Trichy on a car. Every time we come across a temple, you are not only telling about the background of the temple, but there is a much deeper background and the context about the temple.
Mm.
So who has influenced you to that? How did you get that?
Yeah. So there are, yeah. Uh, uh, See, the thing here is sometimes it is also not that I know everything, right? We all know that. It's also the topic that you guys bring up, and most of the times, if you look at it, I am steering the conversation.
Yeah.
So I am trying to take you towards the topic that I probably know, right? There could be a lot of instances where I don't know and I might not talk about it, but somebody talks about it. I listen to the things. But what drew inspiration is, I think, see, when I look at it, I have always debated a lot on why have we come to Earth? What is the purpose of our being? What is the purpose of our being? And to answer that, you have to go a lot inside, right? And uh, I have taken a help of a lot of scriptures to do that, and hence a lot of reading around these kind of scriptures, whether it is the Upanishads or Buddhism, for example. So I have tried quite a few religious texts. Like, I have read a lot about Buddhism, then somehow it didn't settle me. Then I have read a lot about Advaita Vedanta. It did not settle me. Then eventually I one day felt that, why am I born in my family? I could have born anywhere. Then I perhaps, when I started looking at my lineage and my parampara, I felt that maybe there is a reason why I am born in this, in this place, in this religion. And yeah, and then I started reading more about my own religion, my own, I say it's my own philosophy, my guru's philosophy, etc. And that actually that wavelength matches with some of us who are riding together, etc. And then,
Do you do that now? I mean, is there a time you take out in a week or a day to read
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
any of these?
Yeah. So for me, entertainment is this. If you ask me which is the latest Netflix, I don't know when I watched a movie last. Of course, I mean, if I watch a movie, it's in the theater.
No, I mean, people should know that you have your choice of music is also very interesting.
Yeah.
So I think I remember we were going to Trichy for Dhanush Kodi,
Yeah.
and you played a Bengali folk song
Yeah.
from a Bangladeshi
Yeah.
singer.
Yeah.
So how, I mean, that's the interest in
See,
how are you getting all that interest in various types of music?
it is again, it's all, see, it's very easy to connect the dot backwards, right? For example, recently I had played a song from a very famous Malaysian singer called Ramli. I don't know, many people might not have heard about it. How did I get to know about Ramli? How did I get to know about his song? How he was treated badly in Malaysia? It's because the current, president of Singapore, Tharman Shanmugaratna, is a Malaysian. He's not, of course, he's an Indian background, but he's a Malaysian born. And during his presidency, he remembered Ramli's song and he spoke about him. And so while I was listening to his speech, I then got pulled and I started navigating, I started reading about Ramli and where he talks about how music heals the soul. So, right. So that way, music has been super close, to me. Primarily Carnatic, but then Hindustani. But started off with Pink Floyd and Dire Straits. You know that. So I would just navigate. It's I don't. There is no boundary. So I listened to Rabindra Sangeet, and that was the song that.
That's where the
That's where the Bangla connection is there. And then when you start reading about how Rabindranath Tagore has influenced three national anthems, right? Indian national anthem, he has written Bangladeshi national anthem, Sri Lankan national anthem is influenced by one of his students. So then you suddenly listen to the Sri Lankan song and then you start so it's you just keep it open, right? Yes, like a
Sri
canvas.
Lankan song, if you remember, there is that thread somewhere of Ravindra Sangeet.
Exactly. No, it is.
Pretty long.
I will tell you, technically, it is the same raga.
Raga. Okay.
Yes, it is called Dhira Shankara Bharanam.
Okay.
It is the same.
What is that?
Dhira Shankara Bharanam.
Dhira Shankara
Bharanam.
Okay.
Is the raga that he has come to. So it's the same raga he has got it. So that's the thing about music. It's when you don't worry about the lyrics, right? You don't need to worry about the lyrics because at the end of the day, whatever we are talking, it is just vibrations. Somebody has given meaning to it. Deep inside, there is no meaning to what I'm talking now. You got what I'm saying?
No.
So it's just
I
that.
don't do that.
Yeah, it's tough. But all I'm trying to say, it's you. There is somebody here has decided that A means A, right? B means B. So I very what I'm trying to say. So music or our Vedas also. You do not have to know meaning of the Vedas. Just the vibrations is good enough.
So coming back to the sport again. No, you started running last year. I think TCS 10K was your
Yes, correct. Yes.
first big formal run.
That was the first, yeah.
First formal run. So, what plans? You have completed the half marathon. So, are you planning for a full marathon?
Yes, I want to do a full marathon, and I think I need some proper training for it because that's a different game. I think.
Yeah.
I think half marathon I could still manage, but like I said, I got some tips. But I'll tell you, running is something I really enjoy, and now there is also a personal reason to it. When I came back home after half marathon, okay, for the first time, I have done so many kilometers of cycling, swimming, I have done yoga. For the first time, my wife cut a cake for a half marathon.
That's fantastic.
Right. So that to me said, wow, just a 21-kilometer run and then.
For you, it is just a 21 kilometers. For many, it's a huge one.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No, because I said, oh, I've done tougher rides. I have done, see, 200-kilometer rides now psychologically has become easy. But I remember the first 200-kilometer, I was limping, came back. The next day was not easy. Now it's okay, right? So with my half marathon also, I think it was the same feeling. So I do understand what you're saying, but it gave me a lot of satisfaction, and I also then realized why, right? And why this is important, right? Or why did my family appreciate me? See, unless somebody is in that sport and knows what it takes, they don't appreciate it. So because my family also walks, run, it's the easiest thing to interpret. Oh, 21-kilometer, this guy is gone. Let's appreciate. But otherwise, somebody who has no interest in that sport, no matter what great cyclist you are or a runner you are, for him you are nothing. You are just an ordinary soul, and that's the thing that we have to carry. So when whatever we do, we are just ordinary souls.
As I said, when I introduced you, I told you, I called you a twister.
Yeah.
See, I'm also oscillating from one subject to the other.
Yeah.
So we've spoken a lot about history. I'm sure you know a lot about history, much more than a lot of people. Is there any historical figure
or mythological figure that inspires you, that you look up to, you like it. Just an example, for example, I named my bikes as Sikandar
Yes.
because as a kid, I perhaps that was the first time I read about Alexander. I like that and the name. Then there are a couple of movies are there in that name, so there is some connection. There is some no, there is no explanation for it, but you like that person. Is that do you have some such a face?
So, it's very, I don't know, when you were telling me that, when you're asking me that question, already my mind started working on it. And it's again one of the recent things I read, and Alexander was the name it was going on in my mind. And I think I shared this with a few people in my office as well.
Why is that? Why
I'll
Alexander?
tell you a couple of, on top of it, two people that come to my mind. Number one, Alexander recently, because what I read about Alexander was, do you know that Alexander used to wear a cap which has a feather? The reason for that is for the enemies to know that he is Alexander, shoot me directly. Did you know that? Yes, he had a cap. He used to go into the war wearing that, and his cap was the one that is visible. So he used to say, as a leader, shoot me first, right? Number one, never did anything that never asked his command to do anything that he would not do, right? So these were two things I felt as a leader in a corporate life is very important. Often when people, so many of the wars that he fought, the other king never showed up. He just ran away. But this guy was there every day to go and fight. So I like those two. Apart from that, otherwise the general figure that I like is Saint Ramanuja for his empathy. And I have shared that also instances many times. Uh, you know, uh, where if as a guru, you should be lucky to have students like that, right? So then later on you realize that the student is far better than you, and you go and fall in his feet. So Ramanuja was somebody like that, where for the social well-being, he would actually sacrifice everything. So he's one figure from a love empathy perspective I look up to. But recently, because this also changes, right? This personality is not just one. In your life also, it keeps changing. Maybe it was A.R. Rahman at some point of time. Really liked A.R. Rahman's music. I grew up with that. And then slowly now, very, very recently, it's Alexander. For what he has done, and these two reasons.
You spoke about now empathy, you spoke about leadership qualities, you spoke about somebody who will not ask his people to do something which he was not willing to do.
Yeah.
So these are lessons. I mean, so do you draw some of these lessons from your cycling or history? Learning of history, and put to use in your corporate life.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Things are different, but wherever was it possible, are you able to do that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. See, one thing cycling has helped me. I'll tell you in my corporate life, right? Cycling has helped me is that it's given me time to think. See, cycling is also not such a rigorous sport like running.
Yes.
Right? Even swimming, you can't think too much when you're swimming, because every part of your body is moving, right? And in yoga, you don't want to think, because that's the idea. You want to just observe. You don't want to stress your mind in yoga. Just observe what's going on, but don't give it work, right? Swimming, no time. In running, you have no time. So cycling is that way a good sport to give work to your mind. So you cycle, give work to your mind. So I felt my presentation skills have super improved after I started cycling. And I'll tell you, many people on the record have told me, they've said, "Oh, your presentation." Of course, they gave me my decision. The decision they gave me was bad. They didn't accept my decision, but they said your presentation is good, right? So, point here I'm trying to say is that the cycling gives you that time. So I felt that way. I could think a lot, and I could just visualize the entire presentation strategy, and then go home and then just do the slides, because doing the slides is not big. It's not easy. It's not tough. It's the pitch that is important. So that way it's help. Cycling has helped, and using these things that you learn from cycling, fellow friends that you learn, right? I mean, there is so much of learning from everybody, right? Everybody has immense wealth, because understand that person who's riding next to you is also comes with tremendous experience and tremendous life experiences, which you can take from everybody.
There are a lot of things that to learn from Ravi and know from Ravi. There is this his love or obsession with Brompton cycle is a part of the folklore in Velokofi. But I'm not telling you guys about it. It's between one of us. Ravi, fantastic talking
Thank you.
to you as usual.
Thank you, Sai.